Hi guys, I've just created a quick overview on the drawing package. You're just using the square and the circle and some colours. This is like a part B to that. It's using those elements and just creating an embroidery design from that. At this stage I have no idea what I'm going to do, but let's have a play and see what happens. So again, always start with my basic software, create a new hoop on the screen, and I'm going to my drawing package, creating a new bitmap. Okay, and again we're going to have it 4 inches by 4 inches and view at 100%, and hopefully you've watched the basic overview, so I shouldn't need to explain anything here. So I want to have a square. I want the square just to be filled, and let's say blue, and I'm going to drag an oblong out, and now I'm going to go to my yellow and drag. I'm going to hold my control key down so I get a square and create a circle. Now right mouse, left mouse on the color to get the green, and I will go to a circle, and again just a filled circle, and I'm going to bring it up here. I want a complete equal circle, so I'm going to hold my control key down and go to here, and what else can I do? Let's have a filled rounded box with a high curve on the corners, and we're just going to be a disgusting colour choice, but let's go to pink, and let's drag a box of sorts here. Okay, very simple design, and later on we'll build on this and be doing other shapes and creating all sorts of things, but just for now here's the basics. And I'm coming up to, I'm going to close this. I could save it, but it's just as easy to go here and say save changes to image and exit. What am I going to call it? It's circles and squares, so circles and squares, that will do. Save. Now if you watch the applique video I did, the basic box one, you will know that although this is on the screen, it's just the image, I can't do anything with it. I have to convert it into Autopunch. So here I come and create an Autopunch. Next, and there's my image already here. I've just created it in the drawing package. It's assumed I want to use it. So here we go. Next, and do I want to crop the image? Yes, I'll just bring it in a bit closer. I never choose to stitch the background, or rarely, so I don't really need to crop it much. But let's go to the next one, and it's asking me what size. It always defaults to centimeters, although I have my system set up for inches. So if I go to inches, it's just easier for me to visualize, and it's telling me that the height of my design is 3.35 inches and the width is 2.9. That's fine. If I wanted to, let's make it a little bit bigger just to show you here. I'm going to make the height 4 inches, and as I type in 4, if you watch the width, that will automatically increase. I haven't altered the width, I've only altered the height, but it's proportional, so when I alter one it adjusts the other. Now I'm going to say next, and I'm going to see what colours it suggests, and I'm hoping it's going to suggest 1, 2, 3, 4 plus the white background, 5 colours. Good, there we go, 5 colours, and I'm going to go next, and I will cover a lesson on Autopunch and cover this in more detail. But what this screen is really asking is, or saying is, wherever the arrow is on the distance here, anything larger than this size will be filled, Anything smaller than this side, it will have set as a column or a satin stitch. And as I don't want any satin stitch on this, I'm going to take that right down to the smallest option and go next. And here we have the screen where we can customize our stitch blocks. We can move things around, and at the moment I've got the preview on the screen. I'm going to turn the preview off just so you can see it easier. And there's the 4 color blocks that I have. I don't want to stitch the white background, so I'm going to turn this option off. If I wanted to stitch out the green first, I don't know why, I can select it and then I can say move up, move up, move up, or move it back down, down, down. So you can rearrange the order of your stitch blocks. On this particular design, it really doesn't matter, but when you start getting more complicated, then I probably spend more time on this screen than any other getting the pecking order of the stitch blocks in the correct sequence. But for this one, it's easy, and as I say, I'll be covering the rest of it later. So let's go to next. And if I look at these, because I said I didn't want any of it to be columned, you can see whichever one I select, I'm going to turn the preview off again, it's automatically on fill. And because where I had that screen with the rooster's tail, I dragged it down to its narrowest, so I basically said I don't want any column stitches on this. Okay, also on here, the type of stitch, I've got it on sets, and the density, I don't know why, I just usually set my density on 3 rather than 4. I can change the stitch angle here, and I can choose whether I want a fill underlay or not, or an edge walk underlay or not. But again, I can do this later on the editing screen, so I tend not to do it here. And I go to the next screen, and you can use a running stitch or a jump stitch. On a large hoop where you've got a design where it's going to be jumping, especially backwards from the front of the hoop to the back of the hoop, you might want to use a running stitch. That way it won't break your needle so easily, because it will put stitch points on the way rather than doing one large jump. And at this point I'm going to finish, and I'm going to go to my small hoop, and I will view it as always as a realistic view, and this is the design that it's created. So it's a very simple design, and let's say I want to edit and change a few things on here, like the stitch pattern. I will come up to my outline edit screen. Remember, we've covered this on other videos. Go into my design and embroidery settings. I'm going to lock the box open, so changing that to the up arrow, and then the stitch type, I've got settings. I've got various patterns that I can use here, but I have an awful lot more. If I go to my catalogue, you probably missed that. I'm going to close that. You can see where it says grey stitch type. If I know the number, I can select it, but we have 100 stitch patterns here. Most people miss those, and I apologise for my puppy screaming in the background. I'll let him out in a second. So on my step pattern, it's set on number 11 as a default, but if I click here where it says catalogue, there you can see some of the step patterns that are built into the system. So let's try this one, and do I like that one? Yeah, I like that one. And I'm going to apply that. That should apply it to the pink, but I can also change the size. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see. So you can vaguely see the pattern there. Set on the maximum size of 60, and it's set on the distance of 60. If I change that to 40, if you watch what happens to that pattern when I apply it, it's made the pattern closer together. So the smaller the number, the tighter the pattern. I'm going to go to my green circle here, and again stitch type, step satin. Let's come down to the step pattern, click on my catalogue, and let's go right down here and see what some of the other options are. Oh, that's a pretty one, but maybe not in a circle. Let's have a look. What one might that? That's weird. Let's go for that one. So I'm double clicking that, and then when I apply it, there it brings the new pattern up. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's take it down to 100%. I'm going to close, and I'm going to close, and there's my finished design. I tend to always try the redraw view, and if you don't want to wait for it to all stitch out, you can move forward either a few stitches or the block at a time, and looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to come out of the redraw view, and that's when I would first of all save the design. Okay, Dixie, I'll be there in a second, sweetheart. I've nearly finished the video. So save your design as, I'm sorry I've got to be quick, and then you can send it to your machine. I've got to end this here. Puppy needs out. Love you all, and I'll talk to you later. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.